Okay, so now that we've decided on our research question, it's time to start looking for our data. Now, my research question, I'm interested in how elaborate burials were for children in the later 1800s. We're talking about a time period when a lot of people didn't have a lot of money, burials were expensive. The more letters that you add to a gravestone, the more expensive it actually is. And I'm wondering if people who lost children at a young age were more inclined to spend a lot more money on their gravestones than when people died at a more elderly age. Now, this is a grave marker of a young man who died at about the age of 2.5 years old. I'm going to go ahead and record it because I think it will help with my research question. So how do we go about doing that? Well, first of all, this is going to be my first grave marker. And if you take a look at the Excel spreadsheet that I gave you, you're going to go ahead and you would catalog this. For me, it's going to be PC-001. PC for Pine Creek, which is the name of my cemetery, and it's going to be my first grave marker. So that's going to go on my sheet. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure it. So I'm going to get a basic measurement of its height, also its width, and its depth. And I'm going to record all three of those into my spreadsheet. Another thing I want to do is make note of the material it's made out of. Now, this one happens to be made out of white marble. And you're going to go, well, how the heck am I going to know what stone is what? Well, that's a good question. If you've been out in your graveyard for any period of time, you'll really begin to understand that there are many different types of stones. And some stones are going to be more expensive than others. This is an example of a really nice white marble. And the others that we see in this graveyard, there's a lot of granite, which is a dark grayer stone with a lot more inclusions. It's a lot bigger grained. What you can do is, if you have the time, is contact a person who actually makes gravestones and get an idea of the type of stones that are being used today as opposed to in the past. Anyways, this is marble, and if you're not sure about your gravestone, that's okay. Go ahead, we're going to take pictures of it anyway, so as you go along, you might be able to figure it out. So the next thing I want to do is I actually want to record what is on my gravestone. And this is very important, and it's very important that we do it properly. So this gravestone has a number of features on it. On the very top, it has the individual's name, which was Lester Myron. It's unusual, actually, to see markers that are carved on the top and also the front. Sometimes you'll find that they're also carved on the back. These are all indicators that somebody spent a lot of money on the grave marker. We also have lettering down the front, his birth date, his death date, and a little quote at the bottom that says, "Gone before us." And what we want to do is we want to record that on our sheet. So on my sheet, I would put top markings, and I would record in quotes, Lester Myron, okay? And then I would also put on my sheet front markings, and then I would put in quotes exactly what I see written on the stone. Now, this is where that flashlight comes in handy, because this is a difficult stone to read, right? And if there were any other markings or anything else on the stone, such as carvings of lambs or cherubs or anything like that, I also want to make note of that in my spreadsheet. So once we have all of that recorded on our spreadsheet, we need to take pictures. Now, film is cheap these days because people don't use film anymore. So the more pictures you take, the better, because your memory is not going to be that good once you get out of the field. And you're going to go look at your notes later and go, oh, gee, I wonder, I don't quite recall. But if you have pictures, you can. So take a lot of pictures. Doesn't cost you anything. So I'm going to take a picture of the top of the headstone, and on my sheet there's an area here that says for photos, and I'm going to label my first picture PC-001 because it is with my first headstone, and this will be PC-001.1 because it's my first picture. I will take that picture, and then I will write a brief description of what was in that picture. Top of headstone. The next picture I'm going to take is PC001.2, and I'm going to write in my description, front of headstone, and then you'll just continue until you have completed recording your headstone.